Shabbat Shalom, and you are welcome to the Shabbat of this morning. The Parashat that we are going to discuss about this morning is called Parsha Vayakhel. That is, he assembled. That's the meaning of the word Va-Yekhel, meaning to do what? To assemble. And we just read it, and I said that this Shabbat is known as Shabbat Para, which means the Shabbat of the cow, right? The red cow that we slay in the desert. According to our sages, we slay 9 cows. So red cows, I mean, not the other cows, red cows, but we are expecting to slay the 10th one, which will be the final of the final. And in our own belief and understanding, that will be slayed by the Messiah, you know, when the Messiah returns, and that will lead us into a new age, into a new life. You know, so far that's my own understanding. Many people talk about different things, but I'm just giving you my own understanding. 2 Jews, 3 opinions. That's my own personal opinion. So don't be mad with me, you know, because we have people that say, okay, the Kohen Gadol, we slaughter, yes, but we don't have a Kohen Gadol. So to me, I think it is the Messiah who is going to be the Kohen Gadol, and the Messiah, we usher in a new age. All right. I subtitle the parasha of this morning as what is the purpose of havdala? What is the purpose of havdala? So what is the word? Even though before I continue, I want us to understand what is the word, what's the meaning of the word havdala? You know, havdala meaning separation, to separate. You know, that every Shabbat, at the end of Shabbat, we have what is called havdala. You know, so I give an example to my children, or to the one we're having, end of Shabbat yesterday, or everybody that gathered was okay. You know, before a man begin an exercise, right? What do you do before you begin an exercise? You warm up, right? You warm up, you warm up, and you do the main exercise. And when you do the main exercise, you don't just stop. Because that is too hard for the body. Then you cool down, you stop slowly. So the same process here, if you look at it from the spiritual perspective. Before we come into the Shabbat, we have Erev Shabbat. That Erev Shabbat is like a warm-up. You warm up, then we have the main Shabbat, and when we do the main Shabbat, then we cool down with what? With havdala. So havdala meaning separation. That means that the Shabbat is holy, and now we are coming from the Shabbat into the mundane. That means into the main. Into our weekly activities. So that is the understanding. I want you to understand it. Just reason it and understand it from that perspective, so that you can understand what I'm going to say. Okay? Just put that in your mind. In this week, Parashat Vayakhel the Torah states in Shmos, in the book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 3, that you shall not light fire in any of your dwelling on the Shabbat day. The Parasha opened and briefly discussed the forbidden Melacha of creating a fire on Shabbat. Melacha meaning to create in Hebrew. To create meaning Melacha. That is, you cannot create fire on Shabbat. It is forbidden for you to create fire on Shabbat. And we are going to understand why is God telling us, why is God saying to not create fire on Shabbat. Interestingly enough, the written law only mentions one of the 39 melachot of Shabbat. That is one of the 39 forbidden rules of lighting fire or of disobeying the Shabbat. For example, Rabbeinu Bachya explained that in general all the melachot, that is the 39 prohibited law of Shabbat, are all connected to the prohibition of fire. We have 39 prohibited law on Shabbat that we cannot do on Shabbat. You know, he said, you shall not desecrate the Shabbat. Whoever desecrates the Shabbat shall be put to death. To God, it is very, very, very important. And it is stated many, many times in the Torah that we shall not desecrate the Shabbat. You can only desecrate the Shabbat only on one occasion. That is to save life. If you want to say, for example, you are a doctor, you can work on Shabbat. If you are an emergency worker, firefighter, firefighter, you can work on Shabbat. If you are paramedic, ambulances, you can work on Shabbat. It's permitted because you save life. And even though the Torah gave us that, even if you see the animal of your enemies, the animals of your enemies on Shabbat, you shall do what? You shall surely save that animal. For you to understand, for us to know how important God put important emphasis on life. It's not just only a human life, even though the animal life, because you and the animal, your life is the same. The only thing different from you is because you have the Spirit of God in you and they don't have. That is it. It's the same. So the Holy One, blessed be He, is telling us we shall save an animal on Shabbat. We can break Shabbat by saving an animal, even though of your enemies. How much more a human being? So the Torah gives us this example, and this is important. So those are the only case that we can use to break the Shabbat. Apart from that, you shall keep the Shabbat. Shabbat is extremely. It shows to the whole world who we are as a Hebrew people. That we are dedicated. That we are holy. Holy meaning to be separated. We are separated unto our God. We are different. Many of the Shabbat laws are related to the depending upon the fire. Rabbeinu Bachya explained that fire is the source and the reason for all other melachot of Shabbat. Therefore, the Rabbi established the mitzvah of havdala. That means the separation of the holy and the mundane. That means the exiting of the Shabbat on Saturday night. The beginning time of the week when fire becomes permissible along with any other melachot. With any other of our activities, our weekly activities. Starting something new called for the making of a blessing. And this becomes part of the last service in some traditional Hebrew home. It's a long service, right? But in some conservative, they just make it a short service. In my home, we make a service every havdala, right? Every Shabbat in the evening, we make a service and we bless the name of the Lord, that God should help us as we start a new week. So this is very, very important. So the blessing, the braha, goes like this: Bore moreash, meaning Bore moreash, meaning the blessing of the fire. You are blessed is the fire. Ash, meaning fire in Hebrew. Okay, so it's selected because it was the very first work-related service following the creation of the world. This is the time that we humans can start creating a kind of creation. All of this is connected to what is stated in the beginning of Bereshit. And it said, "And let there be light, and there was light." Following this, Rabbeinu Bachya adds that the other three brachot, which means the other three blessings of havdala, are all sourced from the beginning of creation. So this is what I'm trying to explain here, right? That the Rabbi Bachya is trying to explain to us. He's saying that everything that we do all starts with fire. It's all about the fire. Nothing else, nothing more. Even though I can even give us, so yesterday when we were discussing about in Shabbat, my daughter was saying, this reminds me about the Greek. Their kind of mythology, their myth, right? That one of the gods speak fire from one of their gods and brought it to human being and make human being, and their god was so upset, which I read too, right? Yes, but it's something very similar. So the Torah, I said that everything that is seen or unseen starts with fire. Everything is by fire, and everything will end with fire. So therefore, I concluded from our perspective, which as sages told us that the beginning and the end is the same. The beginning and the end is one. There's no difference between the beginning and the end. Rabbi always say, okay, if I know what is in your beginning, I can predict your end. Because if your beginning and your end is the same. no different. It's the same. So the world starts with fire, the world will end with fire. The creation, it starts with fire. Let there be light. And the light came. But everything will be concluded also in the fire. And we can see it in our understanding, we are saying in the Gehinnom, right? That the God sent all those bad angels to the Gehinnom. All those bad any spirit that disobey go to the Gehinnom, you know, and the bad people that sin will go to the Gehinnom. All right, but the idea here that I said is telling us the beginning and the end, no different. It's one. So if you read the Torah from Genesis, from Bereshit to Deuteronomy, if you read it from, if you don't start from Genesis, you start from Deuteronomy to Genesis, the meaning is the same. There is no difference. The way you understand it from Deuteronomy to Genesis is the way you're going to understand it from Genesis to Deuteronomy. It's the same. So here, that everything starts with fire. The planet starts with fire. So, and everything that is created, everything that is seen, everything that is not even seen is also by fire. So the bracha, the blessing now, because when we do the blessing of the fire, right? And we do the blessing of the wine. We do the blessing of the spices. So we're going to know why do we have these three things: the fire, the wine, and the spices. What is the significance of each and every one of these? The bracha on the wine, Bode Prihagafen, is hinted to the word of Aret, which means the land, referring to the Gafen, which means the vine, the wine in the garden. You know, these are the wine that were preserved in the grape from the 6th day of creation. And Rabbi has said this. Tell us after the creation of God, you know, when God created the trees, everything in the vine, the garden was created, everything was created. There are vines, there are the wine that was preserved from that creation. That is the wine that is representing the wine that we drink on havdala, because we are now passing from the holy, from the separated to the mundane, to the the work days. Because we normally start our work, you know, in the evening, as the Torah says, in the evening, in the morning, the first day. In the evening, in the morning, the second day. In the evening, the morning, the third day, and so on and so forth. Not the morning and the evening. You know, the Greek is say the morning and the evening. But it's not like that. Is the evening and the morning, the first day. Okay, so to continue, he said, these are the vines that were preserved in the grapes from the 6th day of creation. The bracha, which means the blessing, on the besamim, which means the spices. Spices meaning besamim, okay? Of the besamim is hinted in the word, the spirit of Elohim. Alright? It is the smell that fills the spirit of man as he takes a breath through his nostrils, filling his soul. You know, that spices, you know, you can see the way it smells good, you know, it smells nice. And when you smell it, it goes into your brain. I say, oh, yes, I see, you know, for me, you know, this is my own personal understanding, all right? And I said, for me, personally, yes, a rabbi, they gave us all this explanation, but I find it even more interesting to go even more deeper in that when I smell that spicy, it gave me this kind of, you know, joy in my heart that I am now even going, that my week, that the week I'm going, that the week I'm entering now should smell good as the spices, so that mentally you are mentally prepared, you know, for the action or for the work that is coming up. In the week, that you are not just again another week is coming. I want to continue in my Shabbat, so that you know your soul is lifted up and you are ready, you know, and that God should make all your week, all your days, the days of the week smell good. That all your work should prosper, whatever you do should prosper, that you should gain a lot of things, you know. So that is for my own, I'm talking about myself. So that is my own understanding personally about this. So he said this spice represents the spirit of Elohim that passed into the man, into Adam, in the time that the Adam takes his first breath, you know. So all those things has a meaning. All these the things that we use for for havdala, it's not just like that. You know what? This is just kind of mobu. No. They have each and every one of them has a significance, because without fire, we won't survive. It is the technology of fire that makes human being a human being, that separated us from any other animal, because we are able to create fire. And not just creating that fire, we are able to control that fire. And not just able to control that fire, we are able to use that fire for our benefit. Alright? So it is extremely important. Everything on our planet, everything you can ever imagine is from the fire. Without the fire, human being is not a human being. So we can see that when you take your car, you start your car, the car is fire. The engine that sparks is a fire that sparks it, right? The plane that you do, the rocket, the rocket engine, right, is fire, right? The rocket that leaps into space, that put out all the satellite, everything. I don't know if any of you have seen the place of rocket where they took off. I will encourage you to go to Florida. In Eastern Europe, in Russia, I was there, in Kazakhstan. But I was nearly 5 kilometers away, standing, the whole head is shaking. That is something like 1.7 million horsepower. It's enormous energy. See the fire takes the rocket out into the space. So everything, even though your food is by fire, right? You make your food by fire. You prepare it. There's some science that are telling us, evolution, that when man begins to use fire, that is when the brain of man begins to become bigger and bigger and bigger. That is science, but that was science. But for me, it is God that makes the brain of a man bigger, that gives us the understanding on how to make, to control, and to use fire for our benefit. So fire for us as a human being is extremely important. The house that we build is by fire. Everything that we do to build it, when you cut the wood, you do a lot of work. So all these are forces that sometimes we don't reason, but it is all there. This is further discussed when the spirit or the winds at times hold back the sweet smell, and therefore make a blessing for the ability to smell the sweetness of the spices. Lately, the braha of the separation between the holy and the mundane. It is hinted to in Genesis chapter 1, verse 4, when the Torah states, and God separated between the light and the darkness. So that is why we separate between the light and the darkness. The light is the Shabbat, and the darkness is our daily work. So we need to separate between the holy, which is good, which is the Shabbat, and the mundane, which is our daily activities. So that is why we, as a rabbi, is telling us to do that separation. A rabbi also described the little fire that exists in every single Jew, known as Betel Yi. It is this spark underlying within our soul, upon the soul of every Jew. During my years of teaching all kinds of Jews and non-Jews, all alike, from all backgrounds, I can definitely tell you that I recognize the beauty of that tiny spark that wants to ignite and warm and nourish our souls. So it is not what I'm saying, that it is not only that the Hebrew people has that spark. That spark is from the garden. God has put that spark, that little spark, that fire, in the human soul, right? From the beginning, for every human being. But there are people who want to silence that spark, or who don't want that spark to come out, within them. That is a problem. But the Holy One, blessed be He, choose the Hebrew people, saying, listen, if we take the Torah will help you. It said that it will magnify that spark 10 million times. It will magnify that you yourself, you can't even imagine. So, but every human being has that spark. Are you willing to release it? That energy that is in that spark, that fire that is burning. But, oh, you know what? I'm ashamed or I'm shy. I don't want people to know that I love God, because if I tell people about God, they make mockery of me. Or in my school, nobody will talk about God. I mean, if I talk about God, they look at me that I'm very weird. Or at my work, in my office. It's your choice. You decide. But as for me, and my house, as Yahushua said, that as for me and my house, the Lord Adonai Elohim will be served. So that is the understanding here. I will keep on telling to my people about God. But for me, I have done my part. If it's like for them, they hear, it goes in here, it comes out here, that's their choice. But I have done my part, and my hand is clean. So on the day, so did you talk? Yeah. I talked my part. So okay. Did you listen? No. Okay, you face the consequence. It's not me that will face the consequence. So our Rabbi is giving us this, that spark is the fire that God has laid in the heart of every human being from creation. Thou shalt not kill. You don't need the Torah to tell you that thou shalt not kill. It is written down there in your DNA that to kill a fellow human being is not good. You know that. You don't need the Torah to tell you that you shall not steal. You don't need Torah to tell you shall not steal another person's wife or steal another person's property. You don't need the Torah to tell you. It is a common sense, right? As a human being, we all understand that. But with the Torah, it's making it very, very clear that if you do this and you are trying to do what? Rationalize. Using you want your mind to deceive you, as David Hamelech did. David Hamelech took another person's wife, right? Killed the husband, and he's trying to rationalize it in his head. Oh, I did what is right. No, you did what is evil. You are a killer. You're a murderer, right? Because you murder and you steal someone's wife, that is not right. Right? But the difference between Shaul and David is this. Shaul will sit down there and argue. Why David? Oh, I sinned. God forgive me. I did wrong. And I repent, and I will never do it again. See, those are two ways. You can either sit down and continue to argue before the Lord, the Holy One, blessed be He. It's your choice. Or you can say, oh, like David, I sinned, forgive me. And God immediately says, you are cleansed, you are forgiven, continue to do what is good. You see, it's not hard. I only tell you, the Torah is not hard. We human beings makes it hard. We put all kinds of junk, human kinds of nonsense that doesn't belong in the Torah. We will make the Torah cumbersome, too heavy for people to carry. Fire has the ability to give off from itself two things. And what are these two things? Fire gives light and it gives heat. This is the spiritual global warming that we view for, that we yearn to share with all the people of Israel and the entire world. May the absence of creating fire on Shabbat and the kindling of the fire of havdala combine to light up our soul, and let this spark bring warmth and light to our fellow Jews and to all the world, to every human being. So that is our desire, that the absence of not kindling fire on Shabbat and kindling fire on havdala, may this bring warmth, may He bring light unto every human being, may He bring light and warmth to you, to your family, to your home, to everything that you do. Then when you realize this and understand this, then you will know that the Lord is one. People, they don't understand that. Then when you understand the essence of what our sages are saying, of what our rabbis are saying, of what our wise men, of what the Torah is talking about, then you say, oh, I can now understand why did they do this, why they are doing this, why they are doing this. Always, please, ask more, ask questions. Do not follow people to do what they do because they do it. Maybe they are doing it for something wrong. If you follow them and do it, you are doing it for wrong thing. But when you ask questions, you will understand. Okay, I understand why they are doing it. Then I can join them. Oh no, they're doing it for wrong thing. I can't join them. I don't want to be part of doing what is wrong. So always ask questions. So this is why I'm explaining. People are saying, why do you do havdala? That is the purpose of havdala. Havdala is very important in the Hebrew home. In your house, you have to do that after the sunset. You do on Shabbat, as the Shabbat is going, perform havdala, and this gives you, it will prepare you for the week ahead, for the days that is coming. And the warmth of that fire, as we take the fire, we will light the fire before we do the blessing. We take the fire and we rub it. Some people put it in their heart, some people put it in their face. It's to warm you up, for the blessing ahead. That the blessing of this fire should be a blessing for you for the entire week. It's very important, that it might sound like a religion, but it's not. There's a reason there. So when you understand that reason, forget about religion. I told you I don't believe in religion. Religion is ability to control man, to control your head and your mind. But I believe in spirituality. There are two different things. I believe in relationship between you and your Creator. So that relationship is what you are doing. I say, I'm keeping your word, not to create fire on Shabbat. But at the end of Shabbat, I continue. It's your commandment. Say, a man that does not work shall not eat. God, as I go out to continue my work, bless me, prosper my work. Let me be successful for this week and for the rest of my life. Parsha Vayakhel. Shabbat Shalom.